So, hello guys, here's Robin back from Complexity Card Gaming. Today I'm going to discuss a little bit the actual meta before YCS Sydney with Joshua Schmidt
Hi everyone.
and Themis Gikis.
It's pronounced Jesus, but yeah, hi
My
guys.
fault, sorry. So, hey guys. Um, well, I think some interesting topics to discuss will be for sure the PePe at the moment, how you would play it, and also if there are any other decks or that can um, beat PePe on a consistent ground. So yeah, I don't know. Let's start with the PePe. Joshua, what do you think about it at the moment?
Yeah, well, first of all, I don't think there's many other decks or any other deck that can consistently beat it, simply because its power level and its consistency is so big now after the new set. Many people are also hyping Cosmo, but I was not a fan of Cosmo before Breaks the Shadow, and I'm still not a fan of Cosmo. I think basically the only way to beat PePe is by using Floodgates or cards like Artifact Scythe, which is basically a floodgate. Um, so yeah, the pure power of PePe makes it, I think, a tier 0 deck, just like Necros was or Dragon Rule or something like that. I think it's definitely comparable.
And your opinion, Thomas?
I think Pepper is obviously the best deck. It's like tier 0, exactly like how Josie said. Uh, the only way you can stop it, or the other decks how can combat it, is with using floodgates, because that's the principle of Yu-Gi-Oh right now. The deck with the highest ceiling is the deck that is the best all the time, but the other decks can only beat it using floodgates. It just
Yeah.
basic things. You need to flood your opponent and you win him.
Well, if you don't know exactly the cards at the moment of the PePe, you can always check Alpai's article where he explained basically the whole deck. But so let's get back. YCS Sydney this weekend. Did any one of you want to go?
If I had the money, I would of course want to go there. But yeah, it's to me it's only money wise. If I could go to any event, I would go to every single event. But yeah,
Yeah, of course. The map is pretty sweet, though.
Well, yeah, it's the Cyber Dragon Infinity mat, right?
yeah, this could fetch so much euros in Japan and America.
So,
Yeah.
but concerning money, do you think it's an YCS where the final results are something that can have an impact on everything? As I think a lot of good players can't or won't go because of the money. So, do you think there's a bigger chance that something special will win?
Well,
Joshua, you wanna start?
PePe is, yeah, I think PePe is probably going to win the event. I'm pretty sure it will, even though not many players will go there from America or Europe, maybe. But Australia has good players, and those players are probably going to take all PePe to the event, and it's probably going to end up taking it.
I
Okay.
think the important thing with this YCS is it's the first YCS with the Breakers of Shadows being legal.
Yeah.
So based on what happens in this event, it's going to be the core for the entire format, and based on that, we'll see deck lists either getting ideas from the deck lists from Sydney, or either trying to combat that deck lists.
Yeah, as always, the first event of the format is always kind of defining,
Yeah.
but I'm sure will change a bit over time after Sydney.
Yeah, cool. Joshua already mentioned it. Cosmo got hyped in Breaker of Shadows. Do you think there is any way how they could win the YCS Sydney?
No.
Okay. Yeah,
Short
basically-
answer.
Yeah, I agree. Of course, there is a chance. There's a chance in everything winning YCS, but the chances are so slim. But the basic thing that is that Cosmo is a low ceiling deck, is a helmet deck, so the chances are way too low.
The thing is that Cosmo has been a very popular deck even in this format before Breakers of Shadow, which I really disagree with the deck being played at all. I think it's like if you're a good PePe player or a good before Mage Magician player before Breakers of Shadow, he had like an insane high win rate against Cosmo, is what I'm always saying, because something simple like a Trapeze Magician or Flush Fire is so hard to get over from Cosmo. It's so hard to pull off multi-K. Breaker player just completely wrecks the whole deck. I just don't see a way for Cosmo to be good in a pendulum format. Besides Floodgates, that's basically the only thing that makes Cosmo win against pendulum.
Okay.
I think that the only way Cosmo is going to win that event is with Cosmojo, the new trap, because it's a sleeper right now. Everyone has been like the card is really bad and that it's not good and such stuff. But I think the card is totally very good in the deck. It's not the thing that it needed because it didn't need anything else, but still is by me a very good card.
It also depends a lot on how good the people will build their pendulum decks for this format.
Yeah.
For this event, because of course it's the first event, so they don't have like a standard list to work with, so people have to build themselves, and if they end up with bad pendulum lists, Cosmo might end up being more popular in Top Cut because it's easier to build, right? Because it's like mostly 3-ofs, mostly staples.
Yeah. It's like maybe way too many people are going to have their PePe being towards more to the mirror, so they wouldn't care for Cosmo, and Cosmo could just take some wins this way based on the list.
That's actually good.
Yeah, I guess.
That's actually a good point. Wavering Eyes. How much
Yeah.
do you like the card in this format right now? So, Themis.
Alright.
Yeah.
In this format, Wavering Eyes is not that good as it was in the previous formats by me. I mean, the only safe way to use Wavering Eyes is by using it on your turn to set up your scales, but most times the things that you're going to destroy are going to be bad levels like level 3 or level 5 or 6, what the level is of Monkey Board. So this way you're not going to have anything useful in your extra deck. The main problem is that you can't use Wavering Eyes that good anymore to disrupt your opponent because of Twin Twister, which I think the card is very good. And I'm discussing it with Lorenzo if we have to play Wavering. I'm currently playing 2. Lorenzo is also testing with 0 Waverings, but I think in the end we will have to play 3 Waverings just because our opponents are also playing 3 Waverings, so that we have more cards to counter their Waverings.
So, yeah, I have a little bit of a different opinion on it. I think it's still super good because it just has to be used in a different way. I agree that setting Wavering Eyes is not as strong anymore because there's just too many variables that mess with your plan. Like if you have to rely on Wavering Eyes as protection, it's not as good anymore because, of course, there's the opponent's Wavering Eyes, there's Damage Juggler, now there's also Twin Twister, which makes it a lot more weird to rely on it as protection. But I think that with the dynamic of the new PePe, it is so much better to use on your turn now, because the thing with the new PePe is that the Pendulum Sorcerer sets up your extra deck really well, right? But only after your Pendulum Summon. So everything you can get into your extra deck before you Pendulum Summon makes the deck even more broken, because normally your turn, if you don't have Wavering, is not going to be as explosive, your first turn at least, because in order to set up your extra deck, you need to Pendulum Summon the Sorcerer first, and then, of course, your extra deck is set up, but you have already Pendulum Summoned, and Wavering Eyes goes around that very, very well, because it puts 2 cards in your extra deck that you can Pendulum Summon right away.
Mm-hmm.
It's for sure the main thing with Wavering is that you have to find a new way of using it. You have to adapt that way.
Yeah. The thing is, go ahead.
There is the Dinoster, the fusion with Dragon Slayers, which is one of my favorite cards in this set. It just helps you so much protect yourself from Wavering. The Noster under Ecclesia it's a very good field.
Yeah, it's true.
And Dinoster's actually a perfect start for the next topic, Brilliant Fusion or Draco Face Off. Which card do you prefer, or where do you see the advantages of Face Off or Brilliant?
I'm not a big fan of Brilliant Fusion this format, because I think that it's unnecessary to play a card that searches or gets Damage Juggler to the grave, simply because I don't think Damage Juggler is as important anymore. Also, the deck is just insanely consistent already without it. So I kind of prefer Draco Face Off between the two, but I'm not completely sure if you need either. I'm sure there's also going to be versions that use none of the two, and they're going to be definitely viable. But in general, I'm not a big fan of Brilliant Fusion, but I like Face Off. I think Face Off is a good one.
And you, Themis, what are you thinking about it?
So I think both the cards are very good, and both the cards help you to advance your game state. But the thing is, the answer for me would be more towards what you want your deck to do. If you want to go first, then Brilliant Fusion should be better, because you can of course do Natura Beast way too easy. But the thing is, so let's say in YCS Sydney, the deck the list that wins the event is playing Brilliant Fusion. Then and is obviously going for Natura Beast in the mirror match. Then people are going to have their lists made towards to win against Natura Beast. So this way, Brilliant Fusion becomes the worse card than it was before. But Face Off is a card that, no matter what, can be good. It gives you immediate access to Luster, which is nuts. And the thing that you can special summon the card you pick is way too helpful. I mean, if you start with a Joker and then go with Face Off and you hit a Luster, you obviously win in that point. And it helps if you don't go for Luster and you hit a Vector. You can always go for Direwolf to hit a back row. You can always go for King of Fairlimbs. At the moment, I prefer Face Off. I was testing with both of them, and right now, the build I'm working more on is with Face Off. That's because also the thing that it doesn't take a space in your field zone with because if you use a Brilliant, you have the Seraph Knight on the field. Was something that it mattered a lot during playtest. I wanted that master zone space.
Yeah,
to do my
true.
Yeah.
Well, and from the old teams like Burning Abyss, Sattler Knight, and stuff like that, do you think any of these are still able to top YCS like Sydney, or do you just think it's like completely Cosmo and Performage?
It's not even Cosmo. Cosmo is the same thing as Satellar and Burning Abyss, in my opinion. It's all gonna be PePe, in my opinion. There's gonna be like a few guys gonna top with a lot of Floodgates, but also looking at the Japanese metagame from the past, you've had like top cuts which were like 100% to like 90% PePe only, and I honestly expect the same thing here.
And also for Sydney, it matters a lot that the set was released today, or I think tomorrow it's getting released on Sydney.
Today, I think.
Today.
Today is only in Europe. On America is on Friday, I think. But it doesn't really matter. What matters is that the set is released too close to YCS, so not that many people have access to the deck.
I think in the end, though, the past has shown that most people that really want to play it are gonna get their hands on the cards.
Yeah, exactly.
I think like the top 8 is going to be for sure 8 or 7 PePe, but the rest of the top 32 might have some.
There is going to be some, I agree on that. It's not going to be as dominant right in the beginning because not everyone is going to have the cards and not everyone is going to have a good list for it. I agree on that.
Yeah, and there's also the Floodgates. I mean, Twin Twister got released, but it's not. You don't always have it against Floodgates, as we all know from the past.
Yeah.
Concerning Floodgates, what do you think? Is Anti-Spell Fragrance the only one which is really good and all other are like okay, or do you think there are other Floodgates which could be as good as Anti-Spell Fragrance right now?
I think there's no immediate perfect Floodgate other than Anti-Spell Fragrance, but even Anti-Spell Fragrance is not as perfect anymore because it is only really safe if you have traps to back it up, because people can chain Draco's face off to it and just summon the guy they get and get to Draco Slayer, get to Ignister or to a rank 4 and out it. The same with Gigabyte, the same with just chaining Twin Twister. I think one of the best Floodgates, so-called, is the artifact engine. I think that's something that PePe is actually worried about the most, because the pendulum mechanic is broken, but you can only use it once per turn, and if they scythe you, you basically lose a complete turn of just playing, which that can lose you games against Cosmo.
Yeah.
Or other decks like Satellar or something.
Exactly what Josh said. I think Fragrance obviously totally just floods you. You can't play other than doing a Castell or something. But Artifact Scythe is really, really, really good, and it's a thing that Cosmo can utilize a lot against PePe. But there's also one more card that Lorenzo find out that it could be good. It's Dragon's Bind. It's a new trap from the new set.
Well,
That basically.
the new emptiness, basically.
What?
The new-
Yeah. Emptiness. Yeah, new emptiness.
What's it called?
Dragon's Bind.
Okay, so for you guys that don't know the card, activate this card by targeting one dragon-type monster you control with 2500 or less attack and defense. Neither player can special summon monsters with attack less than or equal to that target's original attack. When that monster leaves the field, destroy this card.
So, what do you use it on mainly? Draco Slayer, you can't, right? But the fusion, right?
What we tried was playing Mass Chameleon again and do Chameleon into Stutter Spark and Spark on Dragon's Bind.
Okay.
So basically, I don't think you can out that. You can't. Spark can always protect the Dragon's Bind from Twin Twister, and they can't castell you. So it's basically really good, I think.
Well, Wavering outs it, right?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, of course, Wavering out, yeah. But what if you do Dragon's Bind? If you also do Dinoster, not only on the same turn or on the next turn, or you have protection from Wavering, It's clearly a good floodgate that you can utilize in the mirror match.
But how are
Yeah,
you
it sounds-
going to summon Dinoster afterwards?
Can neither player summon?
Neither player.
Okay. Yeah, it doesn't work.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's right. I totally forgot that. And also there is Dolan Blockbird, which I think is good for flooding your opponent. I mean, I noticed at the mirror match all the time. The first thing you do is do the Joker and then search Monkey Board, or do Monkey Board and of course search Joker afterwards. So at that moment, if you simply draw a Blockbird, uh, most likely you win because if let's say they don't have the scale or the good monsters to summon, you simply win. But
Yeah.
also, one of the key things in how the mirror mask works right now is sorcerer about destroying your scales and not leaving yourself open for Wavering Eyes, like
Yeah.
exactly like Valkyries was with Trishula. So it makes your Wavering way better, and for sure doesn't allow your opponent to have a bigger field than you would have before.
Hmm.
So that's also something I want to try out later in the future. The long lockdown.
Hmm.
Talking about Lorenzo, Themis, you sent me and Joshua the list of him. So maybe we could discuss this list.
Okay.
Which one is it? The one
has two-
without wavering?
Yeah.
Okay.
So, like Themis already explained, Lorenzo doesn't like Wavering at the moment, so he doesn't play it at all. As you can see on the screen, he's playing the 3 Monkey Boards, 3 Draco Slayers, 3 Skullcrobat Jokers, 3 Damage Juggler, 3 Pendulum Wizards, 3 Plush Fighters, 2 Lizards, 1 Garnet, 1 Gigabyte, 1 Trick Clown, 1 Head Tricker, 1 Mirror Conductor, 1 Gee Turtle, 1 Palomuro for the Natura Beast access, 3 Upstart Goblins, 3 Brilliant Fusions, 2 Instant Fusions, 3 times Solemn Strike, which we didn't discuss yet, 1 Bottomless and 1 Time Space. Just before we're going to look at his list, Solemn Strike.
Yeah,
So,
that's a good goal. One of my favorites.
I guess it goes well together with discussing his list because his list is really designed to go first with Brilliant Fusion and Palomuro Summon and Tyria Beast.
Yeah.
And like no app reps and upstarts. So I guess in that case I would run Notice as well, or Strike. In general, I mean, nobody can deny that Strike is like one of the best traps that has ever been released, I think. I think the card in general is better than Warning, and Warning was like super good when it came out. But I think right now with the dynamic, I think the deck is like really, really good against every other deck, but the mirror match has a very weird dynamic where going first, in my opinion, or in my experience so far, is not actually that strong because we have Shockmaster. Like in the OCG, they had Shockmaster. They always had to go first because Shockmaster just wins you the game on the spot. And in the TCG, we don't have that. And with the amazing consistency of PePe, I actually found it not very hard to even break fields that had Rafflesia and Affinity if I went second. So I think the deck just generally lacks the ability to go first with a big enough field that actually wins you the game. So Lorenzo is obviously trying to solve it with Naturia Beast, but I'm actually not so sure if I like that. I'm not sure if I like the Naturia Beast approach this format. I think I would be happier with building a version that is designed to go second.
So basically,
Which is
mainly
what I'm
Twin
trying to-
Twister or something like that.
Stuff like that. Basically, on Solemn Strike, I think Solemn Strike at the moment, if you go second, you shouldn't use it. If you plan on going second, you shouldn't play it. At least not in the main deck in PePe, because Basically, if you go second, you do it because you want an extra card. But if you open a Solemn Strike on your hand, you basically still only have 5 cards for the first turn to work with against like Infinity and Rafflesias, and you don't want that to happen.
Mm-hmm.
Alright, so the main thing with Solemn Strike as a card on itself is very good. I mean, paying 1,500 lives for practically doing everything against opponent's monsters is very good.
Mm-hmm.
But
Yeah.
the main thing with the card is that it's a trap, alright? And traps are simply, by me, not good. If you have a trap, all the time you are minus 1 card that you can play on your turn. So,
Yeah.
like Joshi said, if you're playing Solemn Strike, you have to go first. So if you plan on going second, Solemn Strike is not good. Personally, I decided that most likely I want to go second. So
Yeah.
I'm not using Solemn Strike, and I'm not fond at all of using traps. That's also why I'm not playing Bottomless and Time Space, and I'm only playing Treacherous Trap Hole, which by me I think it's insane. Literally the best.
I would play.
trap.
I would play 2 trap holes. I think I would play a bottom and a treacherous. That's my trap lineup at the moment.
Okay, and basically, Solemn Strike is exactly like what I said about Brilliant before. If you plan on going first or second,
Yeah.
what I think right now in the PePe Mirror match is what matters the most is not the technical play, is the deck list. I mean, I don't think I have seen any other deck that the deck list matters so much.
Yeah, that's true.
Because it seems if now we're talking about the same deck that has the strategy of either going first or if it's going second, and the difference is more than 2 or 3 cards in the past. It's
It's
if you're
huge.
if you're going first, most likely you're not using hand traps. If you're going second, most likely you're not using traps. You're using more hand traps. There are way many different choices just because you want to decide if you're going first or second.
Yeah. That's a big factor.
Yeah, and that's the thing. One of the things I like a lot in this deck.
Yeah.
But if you're going to plan to go second, does it have an impact on your deck building that you're basically giving up the game 1 if you have to start?
Well, I mean, that's not what it is, right? Because you're still using Rafflesia and all that stuff. Like, it's not like you auto lose if you go first, because cards like Maxi, they, of course, on your first turn, they won't do anything, but unless the rest of your hand is terrible, they're still going to be good in the game, right?
Mhm.
The problem with, the thing is, going first when you want to go second is not as bad as going second when you want to go first. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. What?
Because like the risk if you play Brilliant Fusion, Strike, Palomuro, and whatever is that you face a field and you can't deal with it because your deck is not made to do so. So you just lose immediately. But if you go first, there's nothing that you can immediately lose to, right? Because I mean, in the core of it, you're still using the same deck as your opponent. The PePe Mirror match, you just have a few other attacks, so you may not be able to set up the biggest field possible that you could if you ran like Natura Beast or something, but you're not losing the game on the spot, right?
Mhm.
And also the thing is that even if you go first and you have Solemn Strike, if you are not able to do Natura Beast, then Solemn Strike is very vulnerable to Twin Twister, which is something that of course you'll see on someone wanting to go second. So on the immediate moment you are way behind if you just use the Twin Twister on Solemn Strike. And most likely not only Solemn Strike, every other protection you have, because lists that go first have many traps. And on the other side, hand traps are not cannot be stopped, can only be played around.
In general, I had very, very mixed experiences with Naturia Beast. That's the main reason. Like, I think if Naturia Beast was or would be super powerful, I think going first would definitely be better, but I actually think it is not that strong because, like, even in the past format, where after CCG Lille, everyone started to play Palamuro, at least here in Germany. I played the CCG stop in Stuttgart with it, and I actually didn't like Palamuro at all because the thing is that it's only really easy to make Naturia Beast first turn with Brilliant Fusion, right? Because whenever you don't have Brilliant Fusion, your normal summon has to be Palamuro, your only normal summon. So there's no way you do like a Joker. And that makes the play really vulnerable because Naturia Beast is actually only really strong if you can back it up with something, which means that you either have to, like now it is Rafflesia or Infinity, and back then it was Pleiades first turn, and it's just not possible really without using all your resources. So you're investing a lot of your resources into that one Naturia Beast, and a simple Gigabyte can just lose you the game on the spot for your opponent. That's something I really disliked in the past format. It's kind of comparable to Jinlock in my opinion.
Yeah.
Okay.
Also, now with BOSH, you can also use Rafflesia as a speed 2 removal against Natural Beast. So
Yeah, so
even if they
like
have,
something like Pleiades doesn't even exist anymore.
even if they do like Rafflesia with Natural Beast and they don't play Treacherous, you can, when you go, just summon 2 monsters and then go for Rafflesia. So you do speed 2 effect, send Treacherous top of the grave, and boom,
Yeah.
you just got rid of it on the spot. So yeah, that's one of the reasons why I mainly want to go second. And it's
Yeah.
also the reason that if you go first and you have like seriously the perfect hand, and if they do it maxi, you have to, most likely you have to stop. Or if they have a Ghost Ogre on monkey board, most likely you will have to stop again. Or if they do a Veiler on King of Fair Limbs, again you can't continue. So going first is you are leave yourself very vulnerable to way too many things.
Yeah, that's just. I think it's really, really well comparable to the Jinlock deck with Scolding. Actually, the version Lorenzo made is like Strike and Palamuro and stuff. I think it comes down to very similar results. Where back in the day with Necros and Jinlock, you would basically be like flipping coins every single time for like outs, and this time I think it's the same thing. And by the way, I'm a big fan of Gigabyte, the next format again. I think it's a really, really good card.
Why is that? I'm not even playing it.
Because, as I already said, I think the dynamic with Pendulum Sorcerer makes it so that your beginning turns are usually rather weak. You know what I mean? Because you have to set up your extract first. And I feel like Gigabyte gives you additional plays in the first turns, or makes your plays more optimal, because it means you can search like a scale with King of the Feral Imps additionally before going off and stuff. I just feel like in general it just makes plays more powerful, for example.
But,
That makes sense.
um,
And we don't have to mention that if people start playing Material Beast, then Gigabyte is going to be
Yeah,
really
that's
good.
just a bonus. If I'm going second, I mean, I as I said, I don't think Naturia Beast is very good, but that doesn't mean that you don't have to be scared of it. And of course, you are scared of it the same way you were scared of Jinlock, so you have to play outs to it. And I think Gigabyte just comes very close to one of the best outs.
Yep.
But do you also play the Archfiend Eater? As I saw
I'm not
those-
sure. It's a viable card, and the OCG definitely played it as well. And I played it in some of my Perform Mage Magician decks as well. I like the card. I'm not sure. I just think that if you have to choose between 1 Gigabyte and 1 Nefarious, or 2 Gigabyte, I think you should play 2 Gigabyte at the moment, simply because when you want, you never know when you want another target for Feral Imps. You know, let's say you draw the Gigabyte and you make Feral Imps with it, but you want to search another one, for example. I think for those cases I would play a second Gigabyte.
Mm-hmm.
So basically the question is if you want a third one, because if you want a third one to special summon, I think you would never play a third Gigabyte. You would always play the Archfiend.
Also,
And-
as you can special summon it with Gigabyte if you're destroying it with Pendulum Sorcerer.
Yeah, of course, it doesn't happen too often, but of course, yeah.
It's also the fact that if you want to play more than Gigabyte, etc., you can also play a very good card that's Performapal Health Princess. If you're not familiar with that card, it says that when you normal summon special summon Performapal, you can special summon this card from your hand, and it's searchable by Joker because it's Performapal. So that's one of the things in OCG they started playing at the end of the format because since Monkey Board was released, they stopped playing Nefarious, and they switched to more builds towards having played against Shockmaster. So I have seen not that many lists, but some lists using this card, and it makes a lot of sense of using
Yeah,
it.
of course, it can also make sense, yeah.
Okay, maybe to finishing this whole discussion, banned list. Basically, we're in a time where we should get the next banned list. What do you think? Do we get one before the YCS Prague or the grand final in Cologne?
I'm not sure. Like, the thing is, we never know when to really expect a ban list. At least I don't know. It would be weird, right, if we would get this format but never play a tournament with it.
Yeah,
I feel like for Europe, because it would be like that for Europe. I'm pretty sure that America has a YCS before Prague as well.
I think they don't have any.
I'm just
They have an ARG for sure.
No, they have YCS Atlanta. I'm pretty sure they have YCS
I'm
Atlanta.
just
Oh,
going
okay,
to
okay.
check it.
Okay.
Because like an American friend of mine, Tyree, just messaged me a few days ago asking me about testing for an event. Maybe he meant ARG though. I'm not
Yeah,
sure.
actually, yeah. Atlanta is in February. Yeah, I remember discussing it with one of my American friends.
Okay, yeah. So my guess would be if they release a ban list, it would probably start the 1st of February, the 1st of March.
Okay.
Is that realistic? I don't know.
Yeah. So basically, it would have been the 1st of January,
Right.
but
Yeah.
it's possible that
It
they
isn't.
just going to skip until March. And what do you think concerning banning cards? So I'm pretty sure Dark Magician of Chaos with his errata from the
Would
Yugi
come back,
Legendary
right?
box could get back.
Before we move to the cards, I want to say that most likely, I believe the list is going to be released right before the national season starts, which means maybe after Cologne. If we remember, in last year,
Mhm.
I think the list was released was legal in the 1st of April.
I'm not sure.
I'm not sure. I think that I remember people being like, "Come on, the list is not real," and on the 1st of April we're going to have the new release and such stuff.
Mhm.
I'm not sure, but
I don't remember. I don't know.
it would make sense to have not for Konami to wait right after the last. Let's say that they want to do a ban list after Prague, so that doesn't make that that big of a sense because it would be like a 2 month format. So
Well,
maybe they wanted to have it to be like a full cycle, which would be 3 months format, and then after exactly 3 months, after that 3 months, there's going to be the national format. So that would be a very good spot to release the new ban list.
No. Okay.
that's also possible.
Yeah.
But
We
I'm
will
not
see.
sure
You know.
if we get it before nationals. There are rumors that we're having a second YCS before nationals, and I'm not sure when we played the last time 2 YCSs with the same format. I think it was back in Dragon Ruler times.
Yeah,
Was it really?
yeah, it was in rulers.
Oh yeah, back-to-back top 4.
Back to back top 32.
Yeah,
Good
and
old
that's where
times.
you hear the Joshua Smith remix about his software. So
Um,
we continue to the cards, I think.
yeah,
Anyways,
sure.
yeah. For the ban list, I'm not sure. It depends. Like when they release it soon, I don't expect them to ban a lot of like the pendulum stuff because it's so new,
Mhm.
right? But if they release it like after Prague, after the first American YCS, before national season, like basically if it comes into effect in like 2 months or something, I can really see them completely wrecking pendulum already.
Already also new stuff or just like in the
I don't know, like there's
OCG?
many ways to wreck the deck. I mean, if they ban the old stuff completely, you still can't do much with your new pendulum sorcerer. It basically comes down to the same thing, right?
Yeah.
It doesn't really matter what they ban. It's just if they hit the deck. And if like I would find it, as I said, I would find it weird if we get new cards but never get to play with them.
Mhm.
But after YCS Prague, I think it is like realistic, or it is okay to ban new stuff, or even ban old stuff that is played in the new decks, like Damage Juggler or something like that.
And Plush Fire like they did in
Yeah,
the
yeah,
OCG.
exactly.
I heard of a lot of
I
players. Oh, Themis, yeah.
Yeah, I don't agree with this way of thinking that. What I believe is that because the ban list is most likely going to be released before the national season, so they don't want to have people start searching for cards for. I mean, like if you ban things, you have to completely change how the deck looks. So they don't want people to start looking for cards last minute and such stuff. Of course, and also they don't want to destroy a set that was just released. I think they're going to do last year's approach. I mean, like slowing the deck's power a bit, which could be like, which they would do like. I hope they hit Monkey Board. I think the card should have never been released. It's
Monkey Board is like the best thing in the deck, honestly.
yeah,
Monkey
Monkey
Board is
Board.
like, for consistency, Monkey Board is like better than Sorcerer.
Yep, yep. Sorcerer allows you to do more plays in the mirror, but Monkey Board is the reason why you're playing it.
But
I don't want to say it, but Monkey Board is a Clifford Scout. It's a pendulum card that allows you immediately when you set it on scale to have your other scale to do pendulum.
Yeah.
One card you can do pendulum, which is
wouldn't it
really
make
bad.
more sense to firstly hit Skullcrobat Choker, as it basically act like a Stratos also to search Monkey Board and everything? Would it
I mean,
make-
they search each other, right? It doesn't really matter which one you limit, does it?
I think limiting Joker wouldn't be that good move as limiting Monkey Board because if you limit Joker gets hit by Solemn Strike while Monkey Board doesn't get hit by Solemn Strike.
Doesn't really. We will see. I don't know. Like in the
Yeah,
end, we
it's
can't.
kind of weird. I don't really believe that if they have to kill Damage Juggler and Plus Fire. I mean, Plus Fire is better than before because of Sorcerer, but
Yeah.
still, it's not a reason for me to ban it. But if you also limit it, it's still almost the same. But on the other side, Monkey Board is if you like limit Monkey Board, you would think more about destroying it with Sorcerer.
Mhm.
So
That's
I
actually a
think
good point.
maybe that's something that they could do, like semi-limit Monkey Board or limit it, and I think that would be enough.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, like you were to mention before, unbanning limiting Dimok would be something that we can expect.
Yeah, the rest of the ban list is basically like anything can happen, pretty much. I think because there's not, besides PePe, there's not gonna be like a broken deck that has to be fixed. Maybe like Cosmo is gonna get like hit a little bit, but like the rest is basically fine.
Yeah,
I
I
think.
wanted to
Maybe-
say, I heard of a lot of players that they're searching the Cosmo and Mermaid cards right now, basically because they're thinking if PePe is really that
Yeah.
dominating
Mhm.
and winning basically everything, these decks could be really good in the next format.
After. Yeah. That's true,
Well,
yeah.
to find the answer of that, you can always check OCG, and in OCG, PePe is like the best deck still, but it's not alone. It has BAE being the two of them being
Yeah.
the best.
But I think
It depends on how hard they hit PePe. If they hit PePe really hard, then of course Cosmo is gonna be better, and of course Mermail is gonna be better. By the way, I think Mermail is gonna be so irrelevant right now that they might even put Diva to 2
Mhm.
next
Yeah,
list.
you also expect that. Diva the two.
Simply
want
because you
more-
know they want us they want us to play the new card next format maybe. Like the card is really good, but without Diva, it's not the same thing, right? The deck is just not the same thing without Divas, or with just one Diva. So maybe we see that, and then Mermail can be really good next format.
Also, something extra is that I think that Konami is doing rotations uh, since last year. That if they follow the rotation thing, they will just start just lowering the power of the current best decks, and
Yeah.
until the time that these decks are going to be destroyed, it will be like
Mhm.
6 months, 7 or
Yeah.
8 months. Until that time, more cards will have been released, and maybe the current the underdog decks, would not be even in that time that good. So I think investing in other decks because maybe in the future they'll be better. I think that's a wrong decision.
okay, that's cool. So thank you very much, Themis. Thank you very much, Joshua.
No problem.
That was fun.
Yeah.
Hope you guys enjoyed that.
Yeah, agree with Themis. So I hope that you're subscribing our YouTube channel, liking our Facebook page, and
Yeah.
and
Follow us on Instagram.
also Instagram. Do we use Twitter?
Yes, we have.
We
Twitter
will use
and-
Twitter.
We will use Twitter, so stay
Soon.
tuned for that.
Yeah.
And yeah, let us know what we could make better next time. I think we're going after the YCS Sydney. We're going to make another.
Small recap, yeah.
Yeah.
That would be a good idea. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's it. So bye, guys.
Bye, guys.